Building muscle is hard. It takes a long time, a lot of commitment, and a lot of consistency. So I'm going to make your life easier by giving you 9 weight training tips for beginners that'll help you build muscle and stay committed in the long term. Number 1, focus on form first. Proper form and technique is important because it's going to help you avoid injuries and build more muscle. When you're first starting out, you want to start very light initially and then very slowly work your way up. I remember when I first started seriously lifting weights, I just used the bar when squatting for like a month or two before I started putting any weight on, and it helped me establish proper form and technique. You can also watch YouTube instructional videos. There's a ton of really good form and technique videos up out there. My suggestion is to stay at a light weight and improve your form and technique before you move up in weight. And you shouldn't ever really increase your weight on an exercise if your form is really suffering. Now, yeah, it's true that when you're lifting really heavy and going really hard, yeah, sometimes you can use a little extra momentum to lift the weight up, and that's just a part of lifting heavy. But your form shouldn't suffer that much. And you can always record yourself to get a form check and make improvements. Number 2, make progressive overload your goal. Progressive overload is the idea that you need to provide a novel stimulus to your muscles in order to elicit growth. And this usually comes in the form of increased weight, increased reps, or increased sets. Generally speaking, you're going to want to focus on increasing the weight or the reps with a given exercise. And this is going to be what you're going to do to increase your strength and grow muscle in the long term. There are also other little things you can do to achieve progressive overloads. You could do time under tension, which means just kind of lowering the weight slowly, or doing a static hold where you hold the weight at the bottom for 30 seconds or something like that. You can decrease the rest time in between sets. You can increase the intensity. There's a bunch of little things you can do. Supersets, but generally speaking, you're going to want to increase weight or reps. The point is that some variable has to be improved in order to see growth. And obviously you can't keep improving forever, or else we'd all be lifting dump trucks in no time. You're going to have to switch up exercises and or rest eventually. Number 3, stick with the same exercise for a while. Now, sticking with the same exercise allows you to make small improvements with it over time and achieve progressive overload. It also allows you to really perfect your form with a given exercise before moving on to something else. I know it's tempting to want to move on to a different exercise after a couple weeks, but I really urge you to stick with the same exercise for at least 3 weeks. But especially as a beginner, you can stick with the same exercise for months at a time. Number 4, do big compound exercises. Compound exercises are multi-joint exercises that involve several large muscle groups. You can usually lift a lot more weight with compound exercises than you can with isolation exercises. So things like deadlifts and squats, you can lift a lot of weight with, as opposed to something like biceps curls. So compound exercises are super important for overall strength and muscle because you can move a lot of weight, and therefore you can target a lot of muscle. More muscle hit equals more muscle grown. Now, don't only do compound exercises. You need to add in isolation exercises for balance for your physique and strength. But in the beginning, at least, you should definitely focus on compound exercises. Number 5, don't train too often. Now, most people make the mistake of thinking that the more you train, the better your results are going to be. I strongly suggest limiting weight training to 3 to 4 times per week for most people. Keeping it this amount increases the chances that you're going to stay committed and stay consistent. Unless you're absolutely in love with weight training and or a genetic freak, something like that, then training 5 to 6 days per week, yeah, you might be super pumped about it for a few weeks or a month or something, but eventually that's going to be too much for most people. So I really recommend scaling it back. Remember, you need to give your body and mind time to rest. Number 6, stimulate, don't annihilate. Now, this is a famous line from 8-time Mr. Olympia champion Lee Haney. And what he meant by it is that you want to go in and stimulate your muscles to the point where they're going to grow, but not go overboard to the point where you're just punishing your body and making it more difficult for you to recover and grow. If you're consistently going in and going to failure and going super heavy and going balls to the wall every single time, It's going to become extremely stressful to do this week in and week out consistently over years and years. Trust me, I know. I've tried it before and I burned out pretty quickly. Now, of course, it's definitely okay to go crazy and to go heavy sometimes, but you just want to limit it. You don't want to do that all the time. Number 7, take rest or deload weeks. Now, what is a deload week? For me, a deload week is when I am not trying to achieve progressive overload for a week. I'm trying to give my body and my mind time to recover. So what that looks like for me is if I usually train 4 days per week, that week I'm going to go in 2 days and I'm going to go very light and I'm just going to focus on technique. I'm just getting a light workout in. Or maybe I'll focus on cardio or conditioning or body weight exercises or just do something different. And the goal is to just get, a light workout, not kill yourself, allow your body time to recover. I don't really recommend taking entire weeks off unless you really feel you need it, because I feel like every time I've done that, the next week I come in, I just feel really off. And it's kind of harder to get back into the flow. Deload weeks are absolutely critical to maintaining long-term motivation and consistency. And without these, you might start to hate working out. That is not a good thing. That doesn't help you gain muscle. And you can be more or less systematic with deload weeks. You can plan them out ahead of time, so you can deload every 5th or 6th week, or you can just do them whenever you're starting to feel sluggish and you're not able to achieve progressive overload, or when you're just not feeling like going to the gym anymore and that feeling's becoming persistent. Number 8, warm up thoroughly before lifting. Now, I see way too many people in the gym just coming in cold, jumping into their working sets and starting to lift heavy and hard immediately with no warm up. And it makes me cringe every time because you're putting yourself at such risk for injury by doing that. And not to mention that warming up helps you lift more weight. So either way, just have a little patience, do the warm up, and your body will thank you for it. Warming up is crucial for optimal performance and decreasing your risk of injury. Now, I recommend a 5-minute general warm up just to get the blood flowing. So something like going on a treadmill or exercise bike or something like that, or jumping jacks, and then a 5 to 10 minute dynamic stretching routine. And these are things like high knees and arm circles and stuff like that to really get your muscles specifically warmed up and primed for your exercises. And the goal is to warm up and increase mobility. Number 9, learn to auto-regulate and listen to your body. Now, this one takes some time and experience, but eventually you want to start trusting your body and your intuition when it comes to working out. For example, if you have it in your head that you're going to do 3 sets of a exercise, but you get in there and the first 2 sets you feel really off, or you kind of tweak something, but it's not that bad, and you're wondering if you should continue, that's a sign that your body's telling you to not continue, so you should probably stop right then. Now, this doesn't mean you shouldn't push yourself, obviously. Sometimes your mind's going to put up mental roadblocks and you just need to plow right through them. And this is where experience comes in. Other times you're going to know, okay, I just need to not do whatever I'm supposed to do because I can just tell something feels off about it. So just know your limits. And eventually you'll be able to do this so effectively that you won't even really need to have a strict training program. You won't even necessarily need to know what you're going to hit before you go into the gym. I mean, you probably will, but you can just go in there and kind of feel it out and get your workout in. I mean, that's what I do now. I used to have strict training routines that I would do for years and years, and eventually you find you just don't need them anymore. If you need some solid, proven muscle building exercises to kickstart your training routine, go watch my video where I demonstrate 17 weight bench dumbbell only exercises, which are perfect for beginners. If this video is helpful, then hit that like button and subscribe for more.